Hello everybody, Game Double Tap here. Good morning, happy Thursday morning, and we're doing a quick episode on my first impressions and introduction to the Rogue. We won't be doing any gameplay on this particular video, or you might be listening to this as a podcast, because I'm also considering putting some of these introduction impression videos into a podcast. But if you've always wanted to know kind of what the Rogue can do without going through the trouble of playing the whole introduction and shipwreck, I'm going to go through some of the really cool features that I've discovered with the Rogue, and I'm going to go through its talent tree. I'm going to talk about some of its cool abilities, some of its itemization, some of the equipment you could expect to get. So there's tons of spoilers here, so make sure this is really what you want to hear, because you are going to get some pretty strong spoilers. Of course, we haven't stopped playing our Elementalist. We'll be playing that later today. But for now, let's go through the Rogue. And the Rogues are typically your sneaky, stabby kind of types. They're good at doing a lot of damage up front. It depends on how you want to play them. Now, in typical RPGs or MMOs, they can do steady high damage, they can do bursty crit damage, or they can also use poison and other talents to make your life miserable. One of my favorite roguelike abilities is the hemotoxin abilities that lower your enemy's HP dramatically, which is really fantastic. So we're going to talk about some of the cool things that makes rogues really great, and that's going to be under my impressions part of the game. But of course, before we get really started here on this quick video, I want to give a big shout out to My Noise for the cool sound effects of the little arcade in the background. The music is from Touchman. So thank you very much to the developer. I do love the sounds there. So with a little bit of rogue coffee, a little poison in the coffee, let's go ahead and get started here. Now I'm going to go through some of the cool things that rogues have and give you my impressions of it.
Tap to turn off. Sound effects are music, help, leaderboard, button, advanced stats, heading.
I'm also going to have a cool little surprise for you at the end. If you're, it's going to be a nice little surprise. All right, so let's go through some of the things rogues can do. Let's go through the Rogue skill book. All right, these are some of the abilities. Now, I've already taken this Rogue through the shipwreck introduction. So what I will do for all future character playthroughs is finish the shipwreck, because it's rather simplistic and it's a good way for you to get introduced to the game. But I'm sure you don't want to see me or hear me play through the shipwreck introduction for about 20 different characters. What I'll do is I'll just skip those, and in future videos, as I kind of can walk through the beginning of every game really quickly, I'll just eliminate the introductions to most classes and pick it up where it gets really interesting on the boss battles and climbing through the dungeons. Of course, I'm not going to stop giving you the mazy stuff, so we're going to have some cool stuff like that. And of course, I know some of you want to hear definitely what I do with the Forge. I will never leave that out. Some of you want to hear how I fight and some of the cool pickups that I get from the RNG. I won't leave that out either, so don't worry, you won't miss some of the cool drops that come to the Rogue. All right, so with the really cool music, I really love Touchman's music here, and it does change from scene to scene in the game, so I just wanted all of you to know that. All right, let's go through some of my skills as a Rogue and talk about them briefly.
Equip skills, heading.
I think my sneaking rate might be a little high. Let me lower that.
Skill slot. Attack. Attack description. A basic physical attack. Skill formula WPNDMG star 1 plus LVL star 0.5 plus STR star 1
so
plus
this is your
LADMG.
basic
Base amount
attack.
3131.
It doesn't do a ton of damage. Here it is.
Type. Skill. Stun cost 1. SP cost 0. HP cost 0. Done.
But that's a pretty good amount of damage, right?
Equip skills. Heading.
Okay, this is only one
Stealth.
stamina uses, so typically rogues are going to get a lot of attacks. So that's really cool, right? That's your typical attack. It will be stronger the stronger your weapon is.
A buffing skill that gives 1 extra stamina, 5 critical damage and 5 shadow damage.
Let's check out Stealth. The iconic ability of a rogue to fade into the background and sneak up on his enemies Excuse me. All right, this is awesome, and this is what you're going to use every time before you start engaging. It's very cheap. It's going to cost you 1 action or stamina, and this is going to give you darkness, which is, it's going to give you shadow. I call it darkness. It's just shadow. It's going to give you shadow damage, and it's also going to give you critical strike increase in damage.
Type. Stealth description.
It's a buffing ability, so it doesn't do damage
5 critical
outright,
damage and 5
but
shadow
it
damage.
buffs all your other abilities. And there's the costs in STAM and SP. And let's hear it again. All right, cool. So yeah, that is really great. You're going to be using this before you start any battle. You're always going to want to use a stamina. So this is a bit of an STG also. In my title, I'm going to kind of say introduction, impressions. I might also, I don't want to make the title too long.
Skill slot.
But I could say this is kind of an STG too, strategy.
Stab description. A physical attack with a large random factor and 25% extra shadow damage.
Okay,
Skill formula 1 to 1.5 star. WPNDMG star 1 plus LVL star 1 plus STR star 0.5 plus Agi star 0.25
really cool.
plus Lux star 0.5 plus Shadow star 0.25 plus LADMG. Base amount 3451.
So this can do a varied amount of damage, all the way from 34 to 51. So this is your typical stab ability. It really benefits from stealth, and it really benefits from having shadow elements. So the thing about Adventure to Fate and Lost Island, in this particular sequel in the series, you really have to avail yourself of the elements that increase the power of your attacks. And the itemization is dead on perfect for whatever you're doing. I'm also going to talk about what race I chose, but we'll get to that in a second. All right, Mark for Death. This is the hemotoxin ability. If you're all familiar, if you are a fan of the Primal Hunter series, oh man, by Zogar, this is one of my coolest, funnest, greatest abilities. It basically lowers their hit points by a dramatic amount. It scales extremely well with your elements. I think it's Shadow. Let's check it out. All right. What's really great about the explanation here in the part of the game that explains what abilities do, and you can do this by turning on the info view. What really helps here is that this ability scales so well with Shadow. By the way, my rogue's name is Shadow. You will see a Let's Play of my rogue in the future, so don't worry. Right now, I'm simply playing the Elementalist, and when I've gotten to a certain point, I'll jump over to other classes. So Shadow Power really empowers the rogue's abilities, makes all their damage so much higher. And let's also hear more information about this particular ability. It's a debuff. So it's only going to cost you 1 action or stam. It's going to cost you a lot of SP. So yes, this is definitely your bigger bang kind of ability. And yes, you are going to have to carry around some SP potions to make sure you don't run out of the ability to use this thing. And I'm going to drop you your first pro tip of the day. You're going to want to drop this hemotoxin style ability on every enemy on the screen. Give them all mark for death. If they're all marked for death, they're all going to be melting. It's amazing. Let's get out of that one. All right, I'm going to show you my talent that I just bought.
Ambush. Ambush description. A physical
This
attack
is
with a large random
ambush.
factor and 50% extra shadow damage.
Incredibly powerful.
Skill formula 1 to
This will
1.5
cost
star.
you
WPNDMG star 1 plus LVL star 2 plus STR star 1 plus AGI star 2 plus Lux star 2 plus Shadow star 0.5 plus LADMG. Base amount 8120.
So this
Ambush.
is going to do up
Audio
to
duct,
81
volume,
to
speaking
120
words,
points of
vertical
damage.
navigation, headings.
It is a little pricey.
Vertical navigation,
so
characters,
this is a long
words,
description.
ambush.
So I'm going to turn on word-by-word navigation
Ambush description.
so we
A,
can go
ambush,
through
description.
each part
Cap
of this
A,
description.
physical, attack, with, A, type, skip, type, hyphen, skill. Stom cost 2, stom, cost 2.
All right, ambush.
SP, cost, 40.
Okay. This is going to cost you 2 actions or 2 stamina. The SP cost is 40, so it's not much more than our hemotoxin ability marked for death. So this is really cheap for the amount of damage it does. This is going to be a tier 2 ability. So for those of you who are looking forward to me talking about the talent tree, this is going to cost you 2 skill points. But I've got a lot of cool tricks to teach you all about how to take advantage of building equipment that gives you more skill points. I'll be giving you more skill points. I'll be talking a lot about the skill tree in the future. No HP costs. All right, there we go. So this is a great ability. The damage is off the charts. You very much will be one-shotting enemies. And let's give you your new... Now let's talk about some of the bonus cool stuff. All right. I have found a new pet in the in the Lost Island. This is my new pet. I have a parrot hatchling, and this is the one you hear on the elevated platform. It's not terribly hard to find. You just have to navigate through the well-constructed maze, and you'll find the pet. You'll also have to fight some of the parrot's minions. And after you beat all the parrot minions, you'll be able to fight this parrot. This parrot is super duper cool. Let me let you hear what it can do.
Equip skill slot.
It has attack, restoring melody, which is really cool. It has a peck, sing, and elemental purge. It has so many abilities, which is really, really cool. But I'll be going through a separate pet video talking about what are the best pets and what are the best abilities that these pets have. But the parrot is awesome. It works really well with the rogue because it can heal you, and it can also debuff your enemies, which means your hemotoxins, your poisons, your stabby stabs hit even harder. So that's a brief overview of our supplies. And finally, let me give you a tiny peek at our rogue.
Equipment, head, soggy dagger, button. Weapon slot.
Going down to our rogue, here are some of the sample starting equipments that you will get.
Shield slot.
Soggy Dagger is an item you will find, or you will take it off of an enemy that you defeat. Shadow Shield is a really cool item that I created at the Forge. I'll be doing an episode talking about creating items at the Forge, but this Shadow Shield is a medium grade shield that a rogue can equip. So it's like a buckler in a sense, because rogues typically don't carry shields. But I assume this is a very small shield. But this is one of my favorite things. I'll give you a little surprise, let you hear what this shield can do. I've got Confused, I've got 15% extra crit, and you can also put skill points on your gear that you create. I'll be talking about this when I discuss creating gear with the Forge. But that's some really cool stuff. Get out of that. Let you hear some more stuff. Got a Scout's cap. That was a piece of gear I created myself. One of the things you want to do with the Rogue is take, I think it's called armor smithing or something like that, but you definitely want to be able to create your own armor. I found pretty good the kind of what we use the expression best in slot. So for the most part, I didn't have to buy much gear because of my crafting. Orcish cloak you can make. I bought leather pants from the shop.
Coral ring button.
Sailor belt was a drop.
Equip potions heading.
Scout's gloves was another piece of gear that I created.
Menu. Pets,
of course, you all heard my Elementalist get the Pirate's Ring. That's a
Scout's
drop.
Gloves, wreck, thin leather, 6
That's
sapphire
another
dust,
drop.
2 water essence, 3.
All right. Now, I really love crafting. Let me let you hear what my crafting feels like.
Elven cloak, wreck, thin leather, 4.
This is my crafting
thin
menu.
Leather, 4 mystic. Scout's cap, wreck, thin leather, 2. Inventory.
These are going to be the gears you can create if you take this particular leather working. I've got this item. I got Elven cloak, Orcish cloak, Scout's cap, and those are some of the really cool items you can create. And I chose a halfling because halflings have inherent shadow elemental improvements. So it's really great. So halflings make spectacular rogues, and this rogue is so powerful, folks. Let me tell you something. I really, really, really like it. Again, I'll be waiting till the Elementalist gets through with the first crystal or so, and then we'll go through a playthrough of the rogue for a little bit. So we'll move around to different classes like we've done in Future Arena. But that's going to be it. That's my first impression. That's my introduction and my STG for the rogue. They are incredibly powerful. We'll be talking about, when I do another short video, the talent tree and some really cool itemizations that you can use, and also how you can create really cool forged items. We'll be discussing all that on future episodes. Don't know what this series will be called, but it'll be lumped in with my Adventure to Fate Lost Island series. But thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Stay tuned for the Elementalist, which will be later today, or who knows when it will pop up. But you all take care, and I will hear you next time on Adventure to Fate Lost Island.